Portland, Oregon. 2017 Major League Soccer preseason. Real Salt Lake preparing to take on the expansion side, Minnesota United FC. Trey Fitzgerald, Matt Gask with you here in the undercard, if you will. Portland Timbers taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps in a preseason Cascadia Cup tilt later tonight. But Sunday, we had a great look at some of RSL's new players, including Albert Rusnak, who takes the Luke Mulholland win, gets it over to Plata. He goes over the top to Jordan Allen. That was the late equalizer for Jeff Cassar's side.
Yeah, a good preseason thus far for Jordan Allen. We talked about it with Jeff Cassar pregame over on Facebook Live, on Real Salt Lake's Facebook Live page. 2 goals thus far this preseason, and he's been told that's his spot to win, and thus far he's done everything in his power to win that. But you look through Real Salt Lake's starting lineup, and quite a bit of familiar faces there. Matt Van Oekel, a new one, though. He'll start in net behind a back four of Chris Wingard on the right, Aaron Mon and Chris Schuler in the middle, DeMar Phillips on the left side. The midfield's a little bit more offensive-minded than when we're used to seeing. Luis Silva and Luke Mulholland will play in the middle behind Albert Rusnak. And then, as we mentioned before, Jordan Allen on the right wing, Joao Plata on the left, Yeromov Sissyan in the middle. That attacking foursome has provided a lot of electricity thus far for Real Salt Lake. We'll look for the same moving into the season opener March 4th. Yeah, no Nick Raimondo, no Kyle Beckerman, and no Sonny and no Tony Beltran tonight. Just minor nicks for some of those guys. Here's Minnesota United's lineup, one of 3 Uniteds in Major League Soccer now. All right, Patrick McLean starting in goal. You've got a back four of Jermaine Taylor on the left side, Calvo and Demidov in the middle, Jermaine and Justin Davis rather on the right. The midfield, Miguel Ibarra and Colin Warner, flanked by Schuler and Molino. Venegas and Ramirez are your forwards, starting for Adrian Heath tonight.
Fotis Bazakos, the man in the middle tonight. Don't know if we'll see more of the VAR experimentation. I think it's been going very well throughout the preseason in Tucson and, of course, here in Portland. Here's Albert Rusnak battling with Jermaine Taylor. Taylor wins it. Clears to RSL's back line. This is the first time, Matt, we've seen Aaron Mon and Chris Schuler together in the middle.
Yeah, and again, another topic that we talked with Jeff Cassar about on the Facebook Live is just the versatility of the different tandems he can use there. When you've got David Horst and Justin Glad as well as options, and Justin Schmidt's really shown himself pretty valuable thus far. So many different ways that he can go about attacking other teams' forwards and how you're looking to defend and different matchups and things like that. Who's got the best form right now? He's going to have a lot of options as things get going in the regular season.
Great distribution there from Matt Van Oekel, the new backup to Nick Raimondo. Jeff Attinella, claimed by Minnesota in the expansion draft a month and a half ago, and then traded here to Portland. We may see him later this evening.
A great line over the weekend from Meg Ryan, who's the new beat reporter for Minnesota United out of one of the papers up there. She said, Jeff Attinella facing off against his old team, Minnesota United. This is as heated as KD in Oklahoma City. So
wow.
She clearly gets soccer, folks, I would say. So give her a follow over on Twitter, the other Meg Ryan.
DeMar Phillips trying to go over the top, beats Jermaine Taylor, finds Albert Rusnak. He cuts inside, looking for Jordan Allen. Minnesota pings it around the back, clears from danger. There's number 20, Schuler, in the middle to Johan Venegas. Out wide right to Kevin Molino, the former Orlando City man. His cross, dangerous, goes across, finds Christian Ramirez, but not able to create a chance there as Minnesota resets in RSL's third. Nice break up there from Mulholland to Silva to Rusnak, wide right, wide left here to Plata. Silva to Rusnak. Looking for Jordan Allen, cut off by the center back. And here comes Minnesota. Luis Silva, not expected when he came back from Tigres to see action maybe in the 6/8 position of the midfield, but throughout the preseason, he's shown really well right there.
He really has, and when you look at that group with Mulholland and Silva supporting that group, you've got guys who can really play with the ball well and join in the attack in different ways. Luke Mulholland's a guy who scored four goals, 5 goals, 6 goals in a season. Silva had 13 with DC just a couple years back. And Jeff Cassar praised how valuable he is coming in to the attack as a late option into the box. And just another opportunity, another different way that Real Salt Lake can be dangerous in the attack.
Joao Plata there on a 50-50 ball, took an inadvertent elbow from Kevin Molino. Fotis Bazakos stops play as Plata tries to reset his nose there for a second. We got a look in that previous sequence at Colin Warner coming back deep. Former RSL draft pick out of the University of Portland here. Claimed by Montreal in the expansion draft. Got to Houston, I think Toronto. And now finding a home in Minnesota, the most recent round of MLS expansion. Jordan Allen works back to Chris Wingert, playing on the right tonight. Mr. Versatility on that back line. Justin Davis wins the tackle with Jordan Allen. It's out for a goal kick. Jordan doesn't like that call. Going in favor of the former University of New Mexico man, Justin Davis, another RSL draft pick from the Lobos, joining Jeff Rowland, Devin Sandoval.
You would have an encyclopedic knowledge of Lobos to RSL.
Albuquerque's a wonderful place. Justin Schmidt will tell you how great Albuquerque is. So it's becoming a soccer powerhouse in the Southwest. 6 minute 0-0 Minnesota RSL.
You can tell it's a preseason game win.
Errant pass. Ura wants DeMar to find him quickly. He's trying. Gets through Calvo. And Ura's left-footed shot off the bounding turf goes out. I thought it may have taken a deflection, but it's a goal kick here for Minnesota. Here's a replay.
Here you see that quick ball forward, and Ura might have been asking for a foul on that play,
there's no deflection.
No deflection, but another opportunity too to talk about how quickly this team is starting to get into transition attacks on the offensive side, looking to do that a little more fluently, a little more rapidly than they had in the past, and really put pressure on the opposing team to challenge their defensive shape early in those attacks.
Here's Jermaine Taylor, another versatile MLS defender. Has played in the middle, has played on the right, has played on the left for Dallas, Houston, amongst others.
Portland last year as well.
That's right.
You'll remember a preseason scuffle between him and Sonny last year. Down in the heat in Arizona.
All these preseasons are rolling together, Matt.
One fight and one, Kansas City lore, right?
Molino cannot keep the ball in against DeMar Phillips. You talked about Luke and Luis Silva in the midfield. Usually you see Sonny and Kyle Beckerman in those spots. Omar Holness also coming online this year in that position. So a lot of depth in the midfield there for Jeff Cassar.
And then when you look at the depth as well, when you look at young players, Jose Hernandez, Ricardo Velasco's had a great preseason. He can kind of flop into that midfield spot when he's not out on the wing. Like you mentioned, a lot of options for Jeff, and a lot of Bofo Salcedo, who we've seen anything of so far because he's been away at U20 camp, is another guy that really provides so many different looks for Jeff Cassar depending on how he wants to play that midfield.
8th minute, some magic there in the midfield on a couple sequences from Luis Silva, who's spent the last year at Tigres in Mexico, essentially watching 11 national team starters play ahead of him for Tuca Ferretti, as Jordan Allen earns a deep throw-in in the corner. Cross from Chris Wingert looking for Jura, cleared by Demidov off his center back partner. A little bit of confusion. Luke Mulholland runs onto it. Back heel to Allen, to Wingert. His attempted cross knocked away, and it'll be an RSL throw just outside the attacking third.
Wingert calling for a handball there on Schuler. I'm not sure what he would see on that, but such a quick ball and looking to get those balls into your Movsisian as like we mentioned, as quickly as possible to create some havoc on the defensive side for Minnesota.
Silva and Allen looking for Jura there, but the Minnesota defense stands tall. Taylor plays it back to the keeper, McLean, and his distribution errant. It'll be another RSL throw. Silva to Mulholland. His ball for Chris Schuler puts Chris in a bad position. Minnesota runs onto it. Here's Molino atop the RSL box, trying to control. Schuler recovers. The Minnesota player, Venegas, still down in the center circle after that challenge from Chris Schuler. And Schuler will see yellow for the aggressive tackle. Here's a look at that 50-50 ball from Mulholland to Schuler and Venegas.
Yeah, just not enough pace on that ball from Mulholland as he plays it back, looking to kind of reset the offense there through the back line. But, tough tackle there from Schuler, and you hate to see him put himself in that position, and you hate to see a player like Venegas go down here in preseason. But he's up. He's ready to get back after it, so hopefully no harm done on that play.
Restart here for RSL. Aaron Mond to Silva. Back to Mond. Mond looking for Jura over the top. Calvo is there to nod it away, but right to Rusnak. He cannot penetrate, though, and now Molino's off to the races down the right wing. Molino looking for Venegas there. Schuler able to knock it away. But Venegas is blown offside, so flag was up. RSL restarts. 11th minute, 0-0. DeMar Phillips under pressure from Kevin Molino. Another throw-in for RSL. Phillips to Plata. Back to DeMar. Looking for Plata again. Broken up nicely there by Colin Warner. Jordan Allen runs on the back pass from Minnesota. RSL has a chance here. Here's Allen to his right foot. Shot deflected nicely by Calvo. It'll be an RSL corner kick.
Jordan Allen again kind of asserting himself in the attack, putting the pressure on Minnesota's defense, and there you see another shot opportunity for Jordan Allen, who's like we mentioned in pregame, shines so much so far for RSL.
Rusnak, the former Man City Youth Academy product, his corner gets through Schuler. I think he dummied, backs out to Mulholland. Mulholland's shot from distance deflected off defender. Will be another corner kick here. Rusnak will probably look to do a little better here. The former FC Groningen man, just arriving in Salt Lake about 6 weeks ago. Rusnak finding Aaron Mond's head. That went just over the bar. Nicely done. We've been talking about Aaron Mond coming so close to these for the last year plus.
You know, and this is a good ball in there from Albert Rusnak. And again, you talk about the versatility of Real Salt Lake center backs. You think about a guy like David Horst, who's really able to put those balls away. You see Justin Glad got 2 goals last year in similar positions. that's one area that Real Salt Lake's looking to improve this next season on is getting more goals off of set pieces. And if you're able to put those chances away, it really can make a difference between, as you saw Real Salt Lake last year finishing in the 6th spot, get a couple 3 goals off of corner kicks. You're looking at home field advantage in that first leg of the playoffs.
Here's Molino playing nicely here with Jermaine Taylor, Colin Warner. Minnesota looking very crisp. Long ball over the top. DeMar and Molino getting tangled, no call. Ball bounds out here to Plata on the left side. He surveys his options. Plays Schuler. Schuler to Silva. Silva goes 1-on-3, gets out of it. Plata wide right to Wingert. Wingert looking for Rusnak. McLean off his line. Cuts that off. And there you see why RSL moved to the 4-3-3 a couple years ago, just to be able to cover 60 yards in 2 passes.
Yeah, good ball through there. And I'm not sure that Yeremov Sission was an offside. That ball wasn't to him, but an opportunity, a thing that when you're springing those quick attacks, you really got to be sure to hold your line, stay on side, and get into that attack at the right moment. Yura jumped a little bit there, no call, but be careful, I think is the message there, because you'd hate to have an opportunity like that blown offside.
DeMar Phillips wins the ball, tries to spring Yura. Yura plays it back to Plata. His touch gets away from him, and Minnesota trying to build out of the back here. Here's Taylor. Looking for Warner. Warner's got Venegas, plays him in the center circle. And now Minnesota with a rush here. Ball out wide to Ramirez. He can't go to goal. Cuts it back to Molino, to Warner. Molino on the right. Taylor. Warner switches fields through the center back. Wide left, that's Calvo. Venegas really coming back deep to get touches on the ball tonight. Ramirez. Broken up nicely by the RSL defense, but Minnesota resets at midfield. Demidov. Molino. Under pressure from Phillips, cuts back to Warner. His pass to no one, finds Jordan Allen. Allen had Yura making the run. Yura a little frustrated he didn't see the ball there. And Wingert will reset through Aaron Mond here in the back.
We look at that last sequence and you see Minnesota really trying to build out at different areas of the field. And credit to Real Salt Lake, what they've done, one of the adjustments they've made this year is defensively, they're going to look a lot more like a 4-4-2. Those wingers are coming back and defending a lot more regularly and with a lot more purpose than they had been in previous years. We talked about it at length. The meetings the coaches had, the work they put in to really establish this team's identity and what they want out of each position on the field. And one of the keys is defense out of those winger positions.
Great vision by Jordan Allen to find Plata and Phillips here on the left. Gets the ball back atop the box. Silva can't quite get through, and now Venegas off to the races down the right side for Minnesota. Inside to Molino. Pulls the trigger from 28. Ball deflects and bounds harmlessly to Van Oekel. Our first real look at Van Oekel tonight here in the 17th minute. Van Oekel and Mulholland, former Minnesota Stars players, I believe. Maybe Thunder. But a long history of minor league success in Minnesota, and now the Loons, if you will, making the jump to MLS.
And there's so many pieces to this organization that give credence, I would say, to the transition they've made from the lower levels to MLS. When you see Amos McGee and you see Manny Lagos there, such pivotal pieces to this organization. Those guys have been around Minnesota for quite some time in some form or another. So to see them bring those guys along and have them be remain pieces of the organization at the MLS level, really big credit to Minnesota United for keeping that structure and making sure that United isn't just a team name, but actually something they stand by.
18th minute, bit of a late flag there as Ramirez whistled off. Nice idea there. Wingert playing Allen over the top, looking for Movsisian. He gets twisted, but he's going to be flagged offside before the foul. And that's probably a sign of things to come for Yura Movsisian. He's going to get pushed around by the center backs whose time and space he's occupying regularly.
And that's going to be a product, too, of these kind of quick counterattacks that Real Salt Lake's looking to pull off. Is one of the easier ways to defend that is to foul, and you're going to see that quite a bit. We're used to seeing it on the number 10s. You're attacking wingers, things like that, and I think you may see it more slowing down Yura Movsisian, slowing down those balls out of the midfield.
Silva wins the ball at midfield. A little give and go there with Rusnak. Now playing with Wingert on the far right. And if Yura's going to get fouled in and around the box with Rusnak and Plata taking the free kicks, it should be good for the RSL attack. Mulholland's ball looking for Phillips wide right, cut off by Molino. Molino playing Ramirez. They're not on the same page. Schuler wins it. Rusnak and Silva. Silva's getting run up the back of his legs by Warner. Gets it off to Wingert. Back to Mulholland. Allen. Wingert on the overlap. Allen cuts inside. Back to Luke. RSL very composed on the ball tonight. A lot of time and space here through the first 20 minutes. Mulholland and Rusnak now with the two-man game. Luke trying to reset. Puts Mond in a bit of a pickle, but Mond, Van Okel, and now Schuler handle it nicely. Plata battling with Taylor and Warner. He wins it. Mulholland and Wingert now on the right side. Wingert, Rusnak, Allen on the right corner. And Allen's cross for Movsisian looked a little more like a shot. Sails wide right, and both players put their hands on their head.
Here's a look at that replay, and maybe, it's not really good on that angle, but early in that possession, if they're able to hit Yura Movsisian wide left, Jermaine Taylor was pulled out of position looking to defend Joao Plata. If you hit Yura up that left side early, that's that early attack that we're talking about. Real Salt Lake really looking to spring throughout preseason. Not quite there on that play, but a good opportunity nonetheless when Jordan Allen moves forward.
Wingert does well to win a ball in the center circle, finds Yura. He thought he was fouled. He wasn't, but Jordan Allen tracks back, wins the 50-50. Now surveying his options, looking for Plata. Broken up there by Warner. And here's Minnesota with a 3-on-5. Mulholland does well to break that up. Errant pass from Ibarra. That's the first time we've really mentioned his name. Long through ball looking for Movsisian. Finds McLean instead atop his box, and Minnesota's going the other way. Here's Ibarra trying to get a few extra touches. Calvo and Demidov. Now to Taylor. Molino. Back to Taylor. Taylor's pass cut off by Silva. Plays it forward to Rusnak. Sliding effort from Demidov breaks that up, and that could have been extremely dangerous for Rusnak and Movsisian going 2-on-1. Warner resets wide right to Taylor, to Molino. Molino inside to Warner. as RSL rediscovers its defensive shape. Wide left, Davis coming down, and his cross harmlessly sails high and wide over the goal in the 23rd minute. Van Oekel will prepare for the goal kick here. Mond surging forward with the ball. Plays Yura, broken up. Tries to win it back, and now RSL a little bit stretched. Here comes Minnesota. There's Molino, top of the 6, pokes it home, and Minnesota goes up 1-0 here in the 24th minute. Excellent sequence there for Minnesota United to take the lead after RSL's dispossessed.
And here you see the turnover. Minnesota keeps possession, plays the ball forward quickly. You see Ramirez playing the ball wide. Molino finishing. That's why they paid so much in allocation money to bring him over from Orlando City. Adrian Heath, obviously very familiar with him coming over from his old club in Orlando. And there he is, putting Minnesota up 1-0 here early on in this match.
Well, in that attacking trio, Ramirez wins it, plays wide left to Venegas. He plays a beautiful ball into on-rushing Molino. Van Oekel had no chance. Here comes DeMar Phillips down the left, battling with Molino. It's going to be a Minnesota throw. RSL has come back several times in this preseason. Came back from 1-0 against Vancouver on Sunday. Came back from 3-1 last Thursday against Portland, earning draws in both those matches. And it's all about the response at this stage. Mulholland trying to get the ball away from Ibarra. He can't. Molino and Germain playing the two-man game. No foul called. Rusnak wide left to Plata. Plata's offering, can't get through, but ball comes right back to him. He's got Silva from 22. His shot saved by McLean.
Real good job of Demidov and Calvo of holding their shape thus far. We've seen a few opportunities where Movsisyan could have gotten forward, but they're holding their line, keeping him honest, keeping him, in some cases, offside, and Real Salt Lake just can't play those through balls to him. And there you see a little bit of a slowed down attack because of it, and they're able to get a good clearance.
Colin Warner resetting here for Minnesota. Ibarra in a dangerous position, gets fouled there by Chris Winger. It'll be a Minnesota free kick from about 28.
You know, you talk about some stories, some tandems with this Minnesota team, and the tandem of Ibarra and Ramirez, bringing them back into the fold after spending some time together at the NISL level. Another great story, and one that I'm sure a lot of people will be following as the year progresses for Minnesota.
Here comes the free kick. Looks like Venegas over it. Right into the wall. Comes back out to Schuller. Then to Venegas. He's under pressure from Movsisyan. Bounds around to Warner, then Molino. Now Davis wide open on the left. Can't keep the ball in, though, and RSL escapes from danger. 28th minute. 1-0 Minnesota over RSL here at Providence Park in chilly, rainy Portland. Luis Silva dispossessed, going back towards his own goal. Matt Van Oekel there to save the Ramirez shot. Plata into the center circle. Mulholland lets it run to Silva. Wide right to Wingert. His offering, looking for Rusnak. Bounds to Plata. His shot from a spot he loves curls just over the bar.
Yeah, just kind of funny bounce there on the turf, and wasn't able to bring it down as cleanly as he wanted. Has to take that extra touch to get that shot away, and just enough time for the defense to get back and really challenge him for that ball and maybe put a little pressure to put that shot high.
We've seen Plata, I think it was at Philadelphia last year, with a goal of the week. And we've seen him in this preseason and throughout his career bury the curler upper 90 from that angle. He may be saving it for the regular season.
Which reminds me, tickets still available March 4th, Real Salt Lake versus Toronto FC. You want to be there for the earliest home opener in Real Salt Lake history.
That is correct. 2:30 kick. I'm sure it'll be
probably earliest in time and date.
'30th minute, Minnesota winning the free kick here just outside the box. Molino plays it to Venegas, and then on the return, Molino taken down about 27 yards from goal. Venegas standing over the free kick. Mr. Bazakos with the disappearing foam, marking off the 10 yards. As we approach the 31st minute, Van Oekel lines up his three-man wall. Here comes Venegas. Right-footed in-swinger, headed down by Aaron Mond. He was fouled on the play by the center back, Demidov. And Van Oekel reset for RSL. Movsisian battling Schuller. Minnesota comes out with it. Going backwards to McLean. Long ball over the top. Chris Schuller's there for RSL to Mulholland. Phillips. He's looking for Rusnak. And Demidov, wearing the captain's armband for Minnesota, tracks back.
You know, Demidov is a Norwegian international, part of a group of Scandinavian players sought out by Minnesota as they look to build this team. They've got representatives from Finland, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway on their roster, all the countries from Scandinavia. A good effort from Manny Lagos and Amos McGee to get out there and bring those players in. You look at their goalkeeper coach as well, Marius Rovda is a Norwegian as well, and a lot of connections to Scandinavia within this roster. Fitting of the Minnesota culture, I'd say.
Molino wins the ball at midfield. Ends up wide right with Taylor. He finds Warner, switches left. Chris Wingert nods it down centrally. Mon tries to clear. Ibarra's there to put the RSL rear guard under pressure, but it's cleared by Van Oekel. Calvo streaking down the left wing, looking for Ramirez. He can't get a clean touch on it. It was nearly 2-0. And eventually, Jordan Allen able to get the throw in for RSL. Here's RSL's schedule. You were talking about that March 4th opener, Matt, 2:30 at Rio Tinto Stadium. You can go to rsl.com and get your tickets. Then the club heads to Chicago on week 2 of the MLS regular season. The club's 13th in MLS. Back home against LA Galaxy on March 18th, and then a trip to New York Red Bulls on March 25th. So that'll be a busy first month of Major League Soccer action for RSL. Plata dispossessed on the wing. Taylor, Warner, and now Demidov settle for Minnesota. We'll look at their first month shortly. Urim of Sissing going one-on-one, and he'd love to have that opportunity back. Dispossessed nicely by Calvo, and now you've got Ibarra going the other way for United. Wide left to Davis, back to Ibarra. He plays in Schuller. Calvo wide right. Taylor back to Demidov. He plays Molino. Rusnak read that nicely, intercepts the return pass. Finds Silva at midfield. Wide left to Phillips. He finds Ura. Ura looked to check to see if the flag was going up. Eventually does, much to his chagrin. 35th minute, Taylor, Molino. It's Ibarra, dispossessed by Luke Mulholland. Silva, Ura, trying to find Phillips wide left, cut off by Taylor, read that nicely. And McLean will build out of the back for Minnesota.
Yeah, this Minnesota defense has been really sturdy out of the back, and you look at the way this team was built as opposed to Atlanta, and Atlanta's got their 3 designated players, and they went with young players in those roles, but big money players nonetheless. Minnesota doesn't have any designated players at this point. You look at the way they've built, and Atlanta's built around their 3 designated players very well. Minnesota, on the other hand, has built a roster that's pretty even throughout, much like Real Salt Lake was in their heavy runs. Some youth, some experience, guys that have played at various levels around the world. And then when you look at the summer transfer window, and they're going to have an opportunity to bring players in at that point, you can figure out what you have and what you need and how these players play at the MLS level, and then look to add pieces, add those big pieces at that point of the year. Really a good opportunity for Minnesota to make some noise in that first year if they're able to stay kind of among the top group at the start of the year.
Silva runs onto a turnover, creates a little give-and-go opportunity for Urim of Sissing and Joao Plata. Plata's final shot rolling just wide right as he beats the goalkeeper. RSL so close to an equalizer here in the 36th minute.
Yeah, and you talk about that sturdy Minnesota defense we were just talking about. They were in good position there. Just a lot of people ball watching there as the ball goes into Yermov Sissing and then through to Joao Plata up that left side.
I know it's in vogue to make Atlanta-Minnesota comparisons, but the thing I haven't really heard people point out is that Minnesota is spending $200 million on a new stadium, while Atlanta is moving into the Mercedes-Benz building, which looks phenomenal. Home they'll share with Arthur Blank's other team, the Atlanta Falcons of the NFL. So
how'd they do this year?
Pretty well. So Minnesota will have their stadium in, I believe, 2 years. They'll play in a college football building the next couple. As United wins a free kick here, about 40 yards from goal. Ramirez down. Ramirez and Ibarra.
Batman and Superman.
I was just going to say. And they have established themselves in the lore of Minnesota's soccer history, and they'll be counted on heavily here in the expansion year and beyond. Molino lining up a free kick. Wingert and Plata, a little 2-man wall about 10 yards away. Van Oekel preparing to come off his line. Doesn't. Stays home. Headed down by Schuler and Mond. They can't quite clear it. And it's going to deflect off of Schuler for a Minnesota corner here in the 38th minute. Molino will run out to take the corner. Long ball over the top, looking for Taylor. Whistle blown.
Looks like the referee was just looking to wave Ramirez back onto
Yeah.
the field. He'd been ready, but the fourth official needed to come over and clear him with, it looked like he got a little bit of a bloody nose there.
So they'll retake the corner. Again, far post. No one there, and it'll be an RSL goal kick going the other way. .39th minute, Minnesota up 1-0 over RSL. Excellent sequence, resulting in a goal for Kevin Molino to give Minnesota the early lead. Here's Matt Van Oekel. RSL's number 2 keeper after a fine career at Edmonton of the NASL. Had played for Minnesota earlier in his professional career as well. 30-year-old has 150 professional games under his belt. Had 16 clean sheets and a 0.55 goals against average last year. Taking the place of Jeff Attinella, who is now here battling for the Portland Timbers number 1 job. RSL throw. Phillips finds Allen. His cross deflected out. Venegas can't keep it. Mulholland runs onto it. Phillips to Allen. Allen and Plata have now switched sides. Ooh, Jordan Allen just went right through that signboard. It's a Minnesota goal kick, but that is not the concern. Taylor with the challenge. And Jordan just landing over onto his back. Hopefully he's okay.
He's been getting in those positions up the sides and getting to the end line to put crosses in. We saw one earlier defended by Justin Davis. This one defended by Jermaine Taylor. Soon enough, those opportunities are going to go Jordan Allen's way.
Yeah, Jordan Allen with 2 goals in this preseason also earned a penalty kick. Tamar Phillips not happy that the foul was called on him after he ends up bounding over Molino. Minnesota restarts with just a few minutes left in the first half. Davis wide left, one-on-one with Wingert, plays the ball in. Nice little 1-2 here for Minnesota. Molino lines it up, and his shot wide left after Ramirez and Venegas cut their way through the RSL back line.
Yeah, just a dangerous attack here from Minnesota. Venegas gets it to the end of it. Ball ends up at the feet of Molino. Opportunity there for Ramirez to redirect, but just out of his reach. Would have been a good counterattack there from Minnesota. Good quick strike, but nothing going.
Minnesota fans have to like what they've seen from that front 4 of Ibarra, Molino, Ramirez, and Venegas tonight. Here comes Taylor down the right. Can't quite get there as Jordan Allen cuts it off. He's looking for Luke Mulholland. Good hustle there by Colin Warner to head out of bounds at midfield. Tamar Phillips with the throw. Finds Rusnak, who hasn't touched the ball in quite a while. Out wide right to Wingert. Cuts into Silva. Silva flips it wide left to Phillips. Here's Jordan Allen. His cross deflected. Collected by Schuler. Mulholland. Mond Not clean, but recovers. Gets the ball to safety with Chris Winger. And then Mulholland looking over the top. Thought Plata might be up there, but Plata had checked back for the ball after switching sides with Allen. And Justin Davis will take Minnesota the other way. Calvo, Demidov, wide right to Taylor. Stay tuned here for our halftime guest, Nat Borchers, former RSL and Portland Timbers defender, among others, will join us. Plata almost finding Rusnak at the top of the 18. The ball slides just under, and McLean is there to deny the RSL opportunity. Borchers recently announcing his retirement. He's going to stay in Portland and be a member of the Timbers broadcast team, amongst other Oregon-based endeavors. Molino plays Warner. Wide left to Davis. He's got a ton of time and space. Settles, gets to the top of the 18. His cross cut off by Aaron Mond. Mond's clearance falls to Plata. Plata battling with Davis. Minnesota controls. Rusnak putting Calvo under pressure. McLean to Taylor. Colin Warner here in the 45th minute. Calvo finds Ramirez. He tries to play it out to Venegas. A little too strong. And now Plata taking RSL the other way. Slicing through ball just a bit out of the reach of Urim Movsisyan. McLean read it nicely. Looks like there'll be 1 minute of stoppage. Colin Warner tries to work out of the back with his center back and right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official on the sideline is indicating.
Here comes Ramirez, one-on-one with Mond. He cuts it back to Davis. Inside to Venegas, under pressure from Winger. They're battling. He finds Molino. Allen now applying pressure. Venegas, Taylor, Molino. Mulholland pokes it away. Finds Silva. His pass to Allen. Cut off by Molino. A great cross into Ramirez, but he cannot get a clean shot off. And Van Oekel had a chance to recover the turf bounce.
Yeah, good positioning there from Van Oekel to not only cut off that far post where it looked like Ramirez might have been going, with the redirection comes back the way he came from, and he's able to, maybe a bit fortunate that that ball didn't come off a little cleaner to get that stop.
Winger trying to find Movsisyan, and he's going to get flagged off one more time. Timing's just not quite there yet. Not that you
like
want
the
it to
idea.
be, and you love the idea. I'm not sure you want the timing to be there in mid-February.
Right. Well.
Mid-November? Mid-December, yes.
Yes.
All right, it's 1-0 at halftime. Minnesota over RSL. We're going to take a quick break. And on the other side, the man, the myth, the legend, the white rhino, the beard, Nat Borchers will join us here in the booth. There you can see lovely downtown Portland. A little chilly, a little rainy. Enjoyable nonetheless. All right, welcome back in. Portland, Oregon, Providence Park. A little rainy, a little chilly, but it is February 15th. MLS preseason soccer. Halftime of Real Salt Lake and Minnesota United FC. Trey Fitzgerald, Matt Gashk on the call here, and I am happy to welcome the one, the only, Nat Borchers to the booth. Nat, thanks for joining us tonight.
Trey, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you in Portland and to see your lovely face.
I don't hear that very often, but I listened to you on the Bill Riley show on ESPN 700 in Salt Lake on, I believe that was Friday. Seems like it was 2 weeks ago, but
Yes.
Got a little update, but I just thought the fans back home in Salt Lake and those watching and listening all around Major League Soccer would love to hear what you're up to and, give us an opportunity to maybe congratulate you on a fantastic career. Obviously, everybody in Salt Lake appreciates what you did for that organization and what you've done for fan bases all over, I think, the league and for the sport in this country over your illustrious career. So thank you.
Thanks, Trey. No, I really appreciate that sentiment, and it's fantastic to finally say I'm retired. Obviously, bittersweet. Had the opportunity to play 14 years as a professional soccer player.
Wow.
What a dream come true, and it's been such a fantastic run to play 12 years Major League Soccer, especially majority of my career with Real Salt Lake. I'll have some memories. I'll never forget to be a part of that experience and the club. And moving forward now, I'm actually getting into the broadcasting side of things. So you're going to unfortunately see my mug around Portland broadcasts every now and again. I'm also going to be doing some real estate investing. I'm starting a company here in Oregon, and we're getting involved doing that. So I'm going to be busy. It's exciting to move over to the next chapter because as a professional athlete, you're kind of limited a lot of times in what you can do day to day. But now I see this freedom opening up, and I'm very excited to be a part of it.
How difficult of a decision was it to hang up the boots after winning a cup here and then, having the Achilles injury last year and then going through everything you've gone through the last 6 months or so to try to determine where you're at now?
Yeah, it was tremendously difficult. When I ruptured my Achilles tendon last year, I had an idea. I knew that it was going to be tough to come back, and I went through a lot of soul searching. But ultimately, I came to the point in time where I was relieved because I'd put my body through so much. Within the past 14 years as a pro, you just have to push yourself through a lot. I think a lot of guys who are my age would say that. And to get to the point in time where I was comfortable and at peace with the decision. It was joyful. It was fantastic to get there, and now to be where I'm at, to have these opportunities. I'm very grateful to the Timbers organization for letting me stay as a part of the organization, and I get to still come to games and be a part of all this fun stuff.
When you were at the University of Denver 14 years ago, and watching the Rapids and watching Major League Soccer grow, could you ever imagine that we would be at 22 teams and Arthur Blank coming into the league and LAFC and the types of players that were growing up in American soccer, Canadian soccer, and also coming from overseas?
Yeah, it just gives you goosebumps to talk about how far we have come as a league, to go from when I came into the league in 2003, we had 10 teams, and there were a lot of question marks. Would this league survive? Is it going to continue to grow? What's going to happen? So many big question marks, and to see where it's come today and the resources and the money that's being pumped into the game, and to see the fan bases grow, really, to be a part of Real Salt Lake, for example, coming in 2008, we were still growing our fan base. And then to get to a point in time now where we've got all these, season ticket holders and things have just grown so much. So it's been just such a pleasure to see that come to fruition.
I had a chance to catch up with a few of our young guys last night that you probably got a chance to speak to at the Rookie Symposium down in, I believe, Arizona a couple days ago. What was your message to kind of this incoming group of kids, including Reagan Dunk from the DU Pioneer background and Jose Hernandez, one of our many academy kids that have now found themselves up in Major League Soccer?
You know, it was a pleasure to talk to that group of guys. You know, there was an MLS, I would say, old guy panel of, myself, Clarence Goodson, Jason Gary, Will Hesmer, Andy Iro was there. Just a really fantastic group of guys. And, we were hopefully able to impart some wisdom on these young guys. And there were a few messages, mixed in there. I think one was just preparation and the ability to be consistent as a pro, because I think that's one of the hardest things that young guys struggle with is, okay, now I'm going from college and I've got all this free time. I train once a day. I got the rest of the day to do with it what I will. And a lot of guys left their own devices, don't make great decisions. So the ability to prepare properly for a game, that was a big message for us. I think Andy Iro made a great comment. He said it's great to get to know people outside of soccer to give you a different perspective on things, because sometimes you get drawn into the results in the games and it can bring you down if you're having a tough season, or it can bring you way, way high if you're having a great season. So to be able to stay even-keeled, it was a big message. And I think finally, I think the biggest message overall is to prepare for life after soccer, because it does come to a grinding halt for a lot of guys, obviously. So you have to prepare yourself financially. You have to prepare yourself mentally for that next step.
So what was some of the best advice you got maybe when you were talking to people in and outside the game as you're kind of making this decision to become a broadcaster, to stay in Portland and get your real estate investment going?
As a pro, it was interesting because the best question I ever asked, I asked a guy named Mark Chung, who used to play for the Colorado Rapids, absolute legend, winger, great left foot. I asked him, I said, Mark, what do I need to do to be successful in Major League Soccer? He said, Nat, he pointed over to a guy by the name of Robin Fraser. He said, go talk to Robin and you ask him that very same question. And sure enough, I did. Robin became a mentor to me, and I learned so much as a pro from him, and I emulated him. I tried to be like him, and it was amazing because as I did that, I learned so much, and I helped grow as a player. And he's a great person both inside and outside of soccer, so I just learned so much from him, and it gave me a great perspective on soccer.
Well, we give Robin a lot of credit for bringing you to Salt Lake back from Norway back in 2008 and keeping you away from the other teams that were ahead of us in the whatever the mechanism was at that time to get you. So obviously a great career in Salt Lake, obviously a great couple years here in Portland. You're here, Ned Grabavoy now, Director of Player Personnel for the Timbers. Jeff Attinella battling for that #1 job here. So a lot of Salt Lake ties. And I guess my last question for you is, does Mike Golub, has he sold a sponsorship for your beard for the sideline, or what's going on there?
We've been working on that for a little while. There's actually a company here called Beards Framing, and I said, I actually talked to Todd Smith, who's the VP of corporate sponsorships here. I said, Todd, honestly, you need to get me sorted out with a sponsorship with these guys. And, unfortunately, nothing ever came about it. But, obviously, I got to keep this beard going here in Portland. It's just the way it's got to go.
I can see the lower third every time they throw to you on the sideline reports, right, in the TV broadcast. Real quick, my real last question for you would be, do you have one or two memories of your career or of the fans around the league that you want to share that really stand out when you look back?
I would have to point to MLS Cup in 2009 that really starts things for me, just in terms of being able to establish credibility for both Real Salt Lake and for myself as a professional. I had never won anything before winning MLS Cup, and then to do that, gave myself and that group such a belief. And then I chased that for the rest of my career, and then to have the good fortune to come here to Portland, play for a fantastic organization, a great group of guys, and to do it again, that was just amazing. That was really the icing on the cake for me. So I couldn't be more fortunate to play in this league, and so fortunate to continue to serve the game in just a different capacity now.
Well, Nat, thanks for joining us. Our best to you and your family, and again, all your future endeavors. We really appreciate everything you've done, not just for RSL, but for Major League Soccer.
Thanks, Trey. It's been an absolute pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Nat. All right, let's look at those first half highlights as we're about a minute and a half away. Here's corner kick for RSL. Albert Rusnak nearly finding Aaron Mond on the header. just over the bar. Here's Minnesota now winning a ball in midfield. Little tiki-taka, covering about 50 yards and 3 passes, and there's Kevin Molino with the goal of the half. Nice interplay there with Christian Ramirez. Quick transition, also Venegas with the primary assist on Molino's goal. RSL coming close a couple other times. Plata inside to Movsisian, a little give and go, and then his shot just rolls the wrong way. Here's another look as Plata and Allen flipped wings late in that first half. Yura Movsisian combining well, not only with both wings, but also with Silva and Mulholland in the midfield. Here's some late first half chances for Minnesota. Davis into Ramirez, out to Venegas, back to Ramirez. Finally, a ball bounds over to Molino. He cannot keep it on frame. Molino once again in the thick of everything for Minnesota here in first half stoppage. Nice cross. I'm not sure if Ramirez thought it was going to get past Aaron Mond. It does. And Matt Van Oekel there to take the turf bounce. There's David Horst making his return to Salt Lake. And he's going to come in here for the second half, replacing, it looks like, Aaron Mond, not on the field. That is RSL's only change here at halftime. Don't believe there are any Minnesota changes, but we'll obviously double check that. Actually, there are. Announcer's curse there, Matt.
Perfect game here in the 7th inning.
Thanks again to Nat Borchers for joining us. You can go on to ESPN700sports.com/interviews to find his lengthy conversation with Bill Riley last Friday. We'll reset the lineups here. For RSL, Matt Van Oekel, Chris Wingert, David Horst, Chris Schuler, DeMar Phillips across the back. Luke Mulholland, Luis Silva, Albert Rusnak in midfield. Jordan Allen, Yura Movsisian, and Joao Plata up top. For Minnesota, I noticed that number 16, Basharim Kadri, recent acquisition in there on the right side, left side of midfield for Rasmus Schuller. And I believe the rest of their 11 is the same as the second half is now underway. 1-0 Minnesota, 46th minute. 2 balls on the field. Justin Davis with the throw. Actually, Schuler is still in.
Looks like maybe Ibarra was the one to come out then.
Yep, that is correct. Ibarra out.
Bashkim Kadri in.
That's right. Phillips gets whistled for the foul here as Minnesota will restart just inside their own half. Long ball over the top to Ramirez. Cuts it back to Molino. Intercepted there nicely by Luke Mulholland off a Rusnak challenge. Rusnak finds Jordan Allen down the right side. He's able to keep it in alone on Davis. Cuts it back inside to his left foot. His cross over Movsisian. Plata not there, and it'll be a Minnesota goal kick for McLean going the other way.
A lot of work done there by Jordan Allen to get in the right position. Just not the right ball there in the final, that final ball as he looks across to either Movsisian or someone going to that far post. Nobody there at the far post, though. It goes through for the goal kick.
Warner under pressure on the restart from Silva. Almost gives it away to Movsisian. But McLean is there to clear from danger. Eventually it'll be a Minnesota throw here. Molino and Venegas, everything going through those two. Both having excellent games. Jordan Allen wins a ball here. Great pressure from Jordan. Trying to get in around Schuller. Does. Rusnak Thought about pulling the trigger from 25. Doesn't. His pass broken up. Schuler keeps it in for RSL. Silva. Molino. Silva not able to tackle away from behind, and now Ramirez down the right wing. His cross to Molino, header, goal, 2-0 Minnesota.
There you see it again. How dangerous Kevin Molino can be on those quick strike attacks. Ramirez gets up the right side and crosses that ball for a diving header. Just a great chance there for Minnesota. This is a quick ball there up the right side to get through to Ramirez. Two guys go in on the attack. It's the third one that comes through, Molino, who gets that cross from Ramirez. And a great finish from Molino to get his second goal of the night here. Just the 49th minute.
Wow, phenomenal transition sequence there from Minnesota. Kevin Molino with the brace.
Ramirez with 2 assists now tonight.
And it was Molino that actually started that procession with the long ball from midfield out wide right to Ramirez. And now Venegas starting again. Another chance for Minnesota. Kadri's shot blocked. Wingert clears. Not out of danger, though. Kadri again on the left wing. Wingert with the throw. To Rusnak. Schuler. Mulholland pointing to the spot where he wants it. Swings it wide left to DeMar Phillips. Plata making a run. DeMar pulls it back. Inside to Schuler. 50th minute. Minnesota 2, RSL 0. Wide right to Wingert. Trying to go over the top to Rusnak. Headed down by Davis. Allen applying pressure. Schuler to Warner. To Venegas. Does nicely at midfield. A little magic in the center circle, but his offering to Ramirez deflects away. David Horst will settle for RSL under pressure. Trying to pick out Allen. Broken up by Davis. Warner. Molino. Back to Warner. Wide left to Davis. Big tackle there from Wingert. He breaks it up, but he's whistled for the foul on Kadri. You heard the clattering of boots, but just a hard, aggressive tackle. Venegas will restart here about 40 yards out. As Jeff Cassar tells his subs to get up and get warm. Venegas, right-footed in-swinger. Van Okel there, far post, collects it easily. Phillips on the left. Mulholland. Back to Phillips. Swings wide right to Plata. Davis there to cut it off, but Wingert reads it nicely. Eluded by his first touch, and Schuler fouled as Wingert tries to track down that ball. Davis to Calvo. Through Schuler. Davis, Schuler, Calvo. Demidov. Jermaine Taylor. Colin Warner. Schuler. Calvo. Long ball over the top. Looking for Ramirez. Not quite there. As Van Okel comes out, pokes it to Phillips. Phillips to Allen. Checking back. He's fouled from behind by Molino. And Luke Mulholland will restart here momentarily. Actually, Chris Schuler will restart here in the 53rd minute. Again, trying to cut a ball diagonally to Plata. Intercepted by Minnesota. Kadri to Venegas, but he's off. Neither team stringing much together here since the Molino goal to open the second half.
Yeah, and you think about a third game in a week. You think about this during the regular season, that's when things start to get sloppy for teams. We're still in preseason, and we're seeing a little bit of that sloppiness here from both sides.
Nice job by Rusnak to hold off Warner. He plays David Horst. His pass to Chris Wingert on the right wing just a little too strong, and it'll be a Minnesota throw in front of the RSL bench. Davis, sorry?
I was going to say earlier, we talked about the danger that Minnesota can bring in their attack. We've seen Kevin Molino with 2 goals already, and that was one of the question marks for Minnesota coming into this preseason, was where Molino fits in to this group. He's obviously shown tonight that he can be such a vital part of that attack, and another piece that they haven't seen today, Abu Dunladi, the first round pick out of UCLA. Another piece that they're just going to have to find a way to fit into this attack, and Adrian Heath with so many options, very similar to what he had in Orlando that first season.
And Minnesota adding U.S. international Josh Gatt today.
Right.
Expected to bring a lot of speed to the lineup. Minnesota getting $225,000 in GAM and TAM for trading their spot in the allocation order to Vancouver, who signed Freddie Montero today. I believe Minnesota also picked up an international spot in that deal, so
right.
Our friend Brian Dunseth likes to call it monopoly money, and Minnesota as an expansion team, they gave a lot of it to Orlando, but they've still got a bunch to do what they need to do. And as we talked about in the first half, building a stadium, maybe saving some of that money to bring a DP or two in the summer.
And you got to remember, too, those DPs that come in the summer come at a much smaller hit. So
yeah.
An opportunity, like we mentioned in the first half, to figure out where the holes are in this team and see where you can piece another player in there. And when you bring that guy in, you're talking about an impact player if you're able to bring a DP in the summer.
Horst cuts it off, plays it down to Wingert. He's dispossessed. And now Venegas trying to pull the strings. Finds Ramirez. Molino putting Chris Schuler under pressure. Matt Van Okel, the safety valve for RSL. Long ball over the top. It'll be a DeMar Phillips throw-in on the left side here in the 56th minute. Schuler, Rusnak checking back deep. Pinpoint diagonal ball to Jordan Allen. He's got Wingert on the overlap. Cuts inside. He's taken down in the box. It's going to be a penalty kick for RSL as Jordan Allen, game in, game out, creating chances on that right wing.
Yeah, this is, as you mentioned earlier, this is, in addition to his 2 goals in preseason, the second penalty he's earned. And here you see him taken down in the box. Yurimov Sisian set to take this. But it starts with that ball from Rusnak. And not only did he put it right on a dime to right where Jordan Allen needed it, but he put it there with the pace.
Yep.
He's the only guy that can get that ball, and it puts him in position where he can move forward. Just a tremendous ball from Rusnak there.
57th minute, Yurimov Sisian buries the PK just inside the left post, and RSL cuts Minnesota's lead in half. 2-1 Minnesota. Yurimov Sisian wearing the captain's armband tonight. Kyle Beckerman dealing with a bone bruise to the tibial plateau of his right knee. Not going to aggravate that on this wet, rainy turf in Portland. Nick Raimondo, Tony Beltran also with the night off. David Horst battling with Ramirez. Wins the header. Wingert over the top. Calvo almost gave it up. Instead, Davis finds Warner. He tries to spring Venegas quickly. Just a little strong, but excellent idea there for Colin Warner. And Matt, you alluded to the question marks about where Molino might play. He's literally been floating everywhere for Minnesota, always popping up in dangerous spots.
That's where you find some of the most dangerous players, is when you don't know where he's going to be on the field, when he's covering every blade of grass or carpet, as they were. It just makes it so difficult to defend and so hard to track a guy when you never know where he's going to pop up on the field.
Albert Rusnak, Jordan Allen trying to surge forward for RSL. Broken up, but Allen applies the requisite pressure to thwart that Minnesota chance, and they reset out of the back. Here's Jermaine Taylor finding Molino around Phillips, cuts it back. Venegas with the shot, Van Oekel with the save there. Venegas not able to get a lot on that offering. Allen back to Mulholland. He's looking for Ura over the top. Ura chests it down. Silva's there. Can't keep it in as Calvo collects for Minnesota. Warner. Venegas. Wide right to Molino. He's got Taylor on the overlap. Plays him. Taylor and Phillips, former Jamaica national teammates. Back to Molino. Schuller. Wide left to Davis. Schuller again. Warner. I know his name's Justin Davis. I want to call him Jason Davis, and maybe that's just because Jeff Cassar is going to be on Sirius XM tomorrow morning.
10 a.m. Mountain Time if you're looking to listen to Jeff
Schuller, Kadri, wide left to Davis. Nice pressure there from Jordan Allen and Chris Winger to dispossess, and RSL is going to make a goalkeeping change. Lalo Fernandez, one of 8 homegrown players on RSL's roster, coming on for Matt Van Oekel here in the 61st minute. This is a good time to recognize RSL's youth contribution. 5 players with RSL ties on the U.S. under-20 team that kicks off CONCACAF qualifying Saturday in Costa Rica. Everybody knows about Justin Glad, played 2,500 minutes for RSL at center back as a 19-year-old last year. Brooks Lennon, the much-hyped Liverpool man, coming back to RSL, also on that team. Danilo Acosta, Sebastian Saucedo, and then University of New Mexico defender Aaron Herrera.
Just keeping that pipeline from the Lobos to RSL.
I mean, literally 25% of Tab Ramos' team has claret and cobalt running through their veins. So kudos to Martin Vasquez,
Mike
Krause, Craig Weibel. Ura's off and running. Flag stays down. He's in alone on Calvo. Plays Plata. Plata thought about pulling the trigger. Back to Ura. Cross to Jordan Allen, and the flag goes up on that 62nd minute sequence for RSL.
Those are those combinations that this team's been looking to play in the attack, and getting the ball into those opportune places where you're going to see scoring chances throughout the night. Just not able to get that last ball, that last touch in, and you're a flagged offside.
As 4 subs come in now, 3 for Minnesota, 1 for RSL. You're going to have Ibsen, Saeed, and Kevin Venegas coming in for Minnesota. Sunday Steven, a.k.a. Sonny, on for RSL as Luis Silva comes out. His 63 minutes, the longest stretch of his preseason since coming back to RSL from Tigres. Minnesota working out of the back. Davis to Scholler. Saeed. His looping ball challenged by Phillips. Phillips gets called for the foul there. Plata pressuring Saeed. Ibsen on the ball. Wide left to Davis. Wingert thought about coming out to cut it off. Ibsen drills his teammate. Ura recovers the loose ball. Plays Sonny. Sonny back to Mulholland. Back to Wingert. Bit of a 50-50 chance. Wingert recovers. Gets the ball safely to Sonny. Ura tries to get around Davis, and it's out for an RSL throw to be taken here by Chris Wingert. He finds Plata deep in the attacking third. Plata back to Rusnak. Pulls the trigger from 18 and rolls wide left. Love that quick decision by Rusnak to go for goal.
And here you see the quick throw. Catches Minnesota a little off guard. Plata to Rusnak with the quick trigger. Just wide left, but we've seen that kind of throughout Rusnak's time with Real Salt Lake in preseason. He's not afraid to shoot from different angles, different spots on the field, and different degrees of pressure as well from the defensive side. He's certainly has some confidence that he can put some pressure on the goalkeepers to make a save. And doesn't have any goals yet, but you see that those ideas coming and those great right foot that he's got, and he's putting balls in dangerous spots.
65th minute, Minnesota 2, RSL 1. Expansion side trying to work out of the back here. McLean, the keeper, tries to clear. Pressure from Mulholland, nearly collected by Allen. Sonny challenges. DeMar Phillips, the high right boot. Wingert unable to find a teammate, and United resets once again. Wingert wins that, heads down to Plata. Plata plays Sonny. Tries to get around Ibsen. Minnesota can't control. Mulholland finds Allen. Allen wide to Plata. Rusnak calling for it. He makes a run, and Plata's cross deflects off Davis for an RSL corner. Wingert quickly takes Plata. Rusnak at the corner of the box. On his left foot. Looking for Jordan Allen. Calvo is there. Ultimately collected by the Minnesota keeper.
What a clever ball there from Rusnak. You see him setting up his defender, going from left to right, back to his left foot, and he plays that ball into Jordan Allen just over the top of his head. I'm not sure that he was on to begin with, but really as an attacking player, when you see one of your teammates from the midfield playing that type of ball, it challenges you to get yourself in position and always be ready for that pass.
Great pressure from Chris Wingert to win that ball, plays it back to Horst. Long ball looking for Phillips, cut off, and now Molino off to the races, but denied by Chris Scholler. Minnesota throw at midfield. They work it back. Demidov, Calvo, Ibsen. Scholler intercepts in the center circle. He plays Plata. Plata, Rusnak, Plata again. Wide left to Allen. Everybody's in a bunch. RSL retaining possession. Allen, Sonny. Wide right to Wingert. Puts it on his right foot. Goes far post. Spilled by the keeper. Bounds to Plata, but he can't get enough on it. I think he was going to play Urim of Sissi in there instead of shooting.
That'd have been quite a goal if Ur could score that from the ground. But
yep. RSL Scholler steps up again. Here's Plata. probing. Finds Rusnak. Plays Phillips into the left corner. His cross knocked away. And it'll be an RSL corner. As Kevin Venegas knocks it out. 68th minute. RSL looking for the equalizer. Here's Rusnak on the corner. Schuler and Horst on top of the 6. Horst gets ahead on it, but his shot high and wide. Rusnak's starting to find a groove on these corner kicks.
He really is. And this team, when Real Salt Lake has been successful throughout the years, they've been very dangerous on those corner kicks. Looking to rekindle some of that with Rusnak providing the service and players like David Horst in the box looking to get those scoring chances on the other side. Puts that one over the bar, but you can see where he's a guy that knows how to get into position and fight off his markers to get a shot away.
Joao Plata dispossessed, but it's an RSL throw. Rusnak to Mulholland. Flips it wide left. Chested down by Jordan Allen. Controlled. He's under pressure. Ultimately collected by Molino. Wide right. Back to Ibsen. Again, that's Kevin Venegas now at right back for Minnesota. Ball out of the back. Movsisian applying pressure. Cleared by the keeper. Schuler knocks it down to Mulholland. Sonny. Wide right to Winger. Rusnak. Plata. Inside to Sonny. Mulholland. Plays Rusnak down the right. Winger cuts in. Back to Mulholland. Nice ball. Knocked away, though, and Minnesota off again as Molino plays wide to Venegas. Johan, that is. Back to Ibsen. Wide right to Kevin Venegas. His cross deflects off Schuler. Somebody was off. And it'll be an RSL restart here for Lalo Fernandez.
This game's got to set a record for most Schulers and Venegases in one game.
Lalo, wide left. Phillips plays it back to Chris Schuler. Great to see him back to the point where he can play 2 games on turf in a week after all the foot issues that nearly sidetracked his career. Fernandez, Horst, Rusnak, Mulholland, Sonny. Wide left to Phillips. Allen making the run. Phillips waited a minute to play him, and Minnesota wins that. Here comes Molino down the right side. Phillips clips him. It'll be a Minnesota restart at midfield. No card. Although the referee is communicating with someone. Minnesota restarts. Resets through the back. 72nd minute. Long ball over the top, looking for the attacking Venegas. It'll be an RSL throw from its own half. Chris Wingert, Yura Movsisian. Luke Mulholland, David Horst, Chris Schuler. Nice ball to Rusnak. He's got Allen on his left, plays him. Plata, Movsisian, and Rusnak all in the box. Back to Sonny. Ooh. Sonny can't quite keep his feet. Nearly loses the ball and commits a foul on Ibsen trying to win it back. Slippery, wet turf, Matt.
Sounds like the name of a rock band that might be playing up the street here this weekend. Get your tickets now.
Quick restart here for Minnesota. Molino wide right. Kevin Venegas back to Molino. Back to the captain, Demidov.
Yeah, it's not quite the marbles in a bathtub we see up in Seattle a lot of times, but certainly not the same thing you'd get on a grass field here at Providence Park.
Calvo under pressure from Movsisian. He wins it. Plata with a touch. Back to Sonny. Ura finds Plata, but broken up nicely there by Minnesota's Scholler. Wide right, Kevin Venegas. Ibsen under pressure from Mulholland. Back to Schuler. Molino. Kadri gets through Schuler. Wide right. Molino tracks it down. Keeps it in bounds. Finds Ibsen. Venegas. Ibsen again. Some crisp passing on display here from Minnesota. Ultimately, Phillips pokes it back to Lalo Fernandez as RSL tries to move forward. Here's Chris Winger. Not on the same page there with Ura Movsisian in the 75th minute. RSL looking to make 7 substitutes at the next dead ball, which could be now if the center official waves everybody in, and he doesn't. Chad Barrett, Ricardo Velasco, Justin Schmidt, Jose Hernandez, Reagan Dunk, Omar Holness, Andrew Brody, and Max Lakawecki all coming in for Real Salt Lake. So Lalo Fernandez will stay on in goal for RSL. Reagan Dunk at right back. David Horst and the rookie draft pick Justin Schmidt at center back. Max Lakawecki at left back. Sonny and Omar Holness behind Jose Hernandez in the midfield. Andrew Brody, Chad Barrett, and Ricardo Velasco across the top. Minnesota restarts here, 76th minute. The expansion United trying to hold on to 2-1 lead here in the final 15. Wide left, Justin Davis. Schuller. Venegas. Back around. Center backs, Calvo. Demidov. Wide right, Kevin Venegas. Former crewman Saeed getting a touch here. Venegas almost dispossessed by Ricardo Velasco. Justin Schmidt, former University of Washington center back, runs onto it, knocks it out of bounds. It'll be a Minnesota throw. Saeed. Back to McLean, the goalkeeper. Davis trying to play Kadri. Intercepted by Horst. Sonny springs Andrew Brody. Brody, the Real Monarchs man, tries to play his former academy teammate Jose Hernandez into the box. Knocked away for an RSL corner, and the diminutive Hernandez, the Pac-12 co-player of the year at UCLA last fall, will restart here for RSL, 78th minute. Hernandez with the corner. Tries to find Schmidt over his head. Lakawecki sends it back in, collected by McLean. He's looking for Ramirez. Dunk to Horst, who heads it back to Lalo. RSL cannot keep control, rolls out of bounds. It'll be a Minnesota throw. Minnesota throw. Saeed. Wide left. Davis plays it back under pressure from Brody. Calvo can't quite clear from danger. Eventually finds Ibsen. Brody and then Holness find Hernandez. Chad Barrett with the lefty shot from 22. Tucks it just inside the far post. And Chad Barrett, who has had some chances this preseason, might have been pressing a little too much earlier, Matt, but he calmly slots that far post past the keeper.
Yeah, you just see Real Salt Lake converge on Ibsen there to create the turnover. Ball spills to Barrett, and he rockets that left-footed shot. Good job by Brody, Holness, and Hernandez to create that turnover. And then Barrett puts it away. The Beaverton, Oregon native doing it in front of his home fans, and you can just hear them in vocal support of him. Not really. But he is from Beaverton, and he does have some family here. So
that's the 80th minute equalizer. Chad Barrett tying it up for RSL, and
he scored a goal here once and did a little ballerina dance. I was hoping to see something creative, but it's preseason for even the celebrations at this point.
Here comes Minnesota. Molino sets up Kevin Venegas. His cross broken up calmly by Justin Schmidt. He's looking for Ricardo Velasco, but it's a Minnesota throw. Molino on the ball again. Saeed. Wide left to Davis. Saeed back to the captain, Demidov. Kadri. Davis cross, can't get through Dunk. And here's Andrew Brody going the other way. Brody, Barrett, Brody again, can't quite keep it. Scholler was there for Minnesota. He's going to see a card, and thought Brody was actually the one a little more out of control there, but Fotis Bazako sees it differently than I do, as Jose Hernandez will restart for RSL.
Yeah, coming into camp, we thought Brody might move to one of the outside back positions, but Real Salt Lake really seems to short up those spots at both the MLS and USL levels. Brody moves back into the wing position, and we see a good idea of what he can bring to those attacking roles here in the last 2 or 3 possessions for Real Salt Lake.
Velasco and Hernandez with a nice 1-2, but Velasco can't quite keep it in bounds. Be a Minnesota goal kick. Davis. Errant pass back to Calvo. It's an RSL corner. Brody and Hernandez stand over it. Here comes Hernandez, 2 years at UCLA before turning pro. Finds David Horst. He knocks it down to Barrett. Holness keeps it in. Beautiful goal from distance last Thursday here. But RSL can't create the chance, and now Minnesota through Saeed, trying to go the other way. Saeed looking for Molino, broken up by Schmidt. Kept in by Velasco. Sonny. In the midfield to Brody. Holness on the stripe. Wide left to Velasco. Max Lakowecki can't quite handle the pass, and it's going to be another Minnesota goal kick.
You know, on that play, just kind of an underrated element, and Brody, real smart move. He cuts to the inside, draws the defender, that left back, as well as number 2 there. That's Justin Davis. Draws Justin Davis into the middle of the field. A good path there for Reagan Dunk to run up the right side. They just don't see him. And maybe an opportunity lost there for Real Salt Lake.
Dunk back to Fernandez. Long ball, knotted forward by Barrett. Can Hernandez get there? No. Cleared by McLean. All the way back to the other keep. Lalo, Schmidt, Sonny, Hernandez. Sonny all the way back to the keeper. Lalo surveying options. Looking up the right side for Brody. Nice play by Davis. Holness can't control. Ultimately goes to Dunk. Back to Lalo. 85th minute. Steady rain here at Providence Park. Portland and Vancouver will renew their Cascadia Cup pleasantries here in preseason action at the conclusion of this game. Nice cross from Reagan Dunk. Broken up by Calvo. And it's going to be another RSL corner as RSL at 1 point down 2-0 in this game. Looking for the game winner here in the final 5 minutes. Jose Hernandez. Goes far post. Finds Chad Barrett. His header straight at McLean. Molino telling his teammates to be calm. Davis on the left, back to Calvo. Schuller in midfield. Davis. Ibsen. Under pressure from Sonny. Holness pressures Venegas into a giveaway. Here's Sonny again. Brody. Long ball. Finds Hernandez. He's flagged off. Barrett and Velasco might have been on there, but Minnesota restart. Minnesota, since the departure of Colin Warner, hasn't controlled the tempo in the last 15 minutes as much as they had throughout the early part of the match.
Well, I think a good part of that as well is you're looking at a lot of guys in Minnesota's lineup that will have played almost 90 minutes to this point, and you got fresh legs for Real Salt Lake coming on, and guys like Brody, Dunk, Sonny, all these players that came on at around the 75th minute mark. Those fresh legs really paying dividends, and if you're Jeff Cassar, wow.
Ricardo Velasco, long ball over the top, finds Chad Barrett, far post. His shot cleared off the line, but not from danger. Poked home there by Andrew Brody. We're going to see a replay here.
Here we see some of that energy that this group brought off the bench. And Velasco, like you mentioned, plays that ball through to Holness. Holness with the ball to the far post. Barrett with the header, unable to clear it off the line, though, is Minnesota. Brody just leaps on that loose ball in front of the goal and puts it away. If my memory's right, that's very similar to the first professional goal he scored with the Monarchs last year. Just jumping on a loose ball in the area and putting it away. Some call those lucky, but you got to be in the right spot at the right time to do those, and there you see it with Brody.
RSL coming back from a 2-0 deficit, takes the 3-2 lead in the 87th minute. Omar Holness fouled at midfield.
So as I was saying there before, I was so rudely interrupted by actual soccer being played. Jeff Cassar, though, if he's looking at this group and he wants to know what can guys give him the final 15 minutes of a game, now it's a little bit different because you're seeing a lot of guys with a lot of energy jumping out on the field and looking to prove something. But if you see what Andrew Brody did there, that might be an opportunity for a guy at some point to jump up to the MLS level. You see what he can do at the USL, but Chad Barrett gets the goal. We know he's going to be the guy to threaten off the bench. Omar Holness is contributing. Ricardo Velasco has been doing it all throughout preseason. You get those and you see what guys can do in short amounts of time to contribute. And so far, Jeff Cassar's really got to be happy with what he's seeing from this group.
Absolutely, and we saw a lot of it on Sunday night. You saw Charlie Adams. You saw Brody. You mentioned Velasco again. Reagan Dunk, Justin Schmidt. A bit of a youth movement going on in Utah. And you just see how those Monarchs players, those draft picks, getting 3-4 weeks with the first group, how quickly their improvement accelerates. Going to be a 90th minute restart here. Jose Hernandez to Chad Barrett in the corner. Dispossessed by Saeed. He's looking for Venegas. Molino at midfield. Wide right to the other Venegas. Ibsen. Molino. Ibsen. Kevin Venegas. Trying to get around Lakawecki. Can't quite get around him. Justin Schmidt there clears the loose ball, and it's a Minnesota throw as we're going to have 3 minutes of stoppage time. This will be a test for the young guys at RSL. Can they hold off a hungry Minnesota group? Minnesota group that probably had 7 of their starters on the field earlier and now still has the very dangerous Molino, Johan Venegas in the attack. Again, 3 minutes of stoppage. RSL holding on to the lead. Lalo Fernandez with the goal kick. Barrett battling. Lakawecki battling with Molino. Saeed settles. Molino. Wide right. Kevin Venegas sending a ball into the box. Deflects off a couple people, but Lalo Fernandez is there to control things. Poor clearance. It'll be a Minnesota throw at midfield. Davis, Calvo, Demidov, Calvo again. It's got Ibsen here on the left side. Flips right, switching fields. Kevin Venegas. Looking inside, no one's there. Horst plays Holness. Barrett. Hernandez and Velasco down RSL's left side. Velasco pressing. Decides not to carry it all the way in the corner. Plays Holness back. He can't get there. Sonny wins the ball, though. Back to Lakawecki. Velasco one-on-one with Kevin Venegas. Down the touchline. Plays Jose Hernandez. Hernandez push, knocks the ball out of bounds. It's a Minnesota throw, and Hernandez is going to get a yellow for whatever his commentary might have been. Minnesota with the throw. We're about halfway through the 3 minutes of indicated stoppage time. Minnesota wide left. Justin Davis. Finds Kadri. His pass intercepted by Horst. Dunk over the top. Back to Holness. He's looking for Chad Barrett. Barrett battling Calvo. Won by Brody. He plays Hernandez. He cannot control, though. And Minnesota trying to go the other way. Velasco is going to be whistled for the foul on Saeed. Here's Molino. Venegas in alone with the equalizer. Tucks it far post past Lalo Fernandez as Johan Venegas splits the RSL center backs. And there's the danger of that quick transition, Matt.
Exactly right. And what a ball played through there by Eugene Starikov, who was the late substitute. Just touches that ball through for Venegas. And Venegas has been dangerous throughout the night. There he is. Gets that ball just beyond the reach of David Horst sliding in to make the stop, but puts it inside the far post, and there's the equalizer in the 93rd minute.
Horst, Schmidt, and Lakawecki all talking to each other, a little bit of confusion. And that's pretty much the last kick of the game, Matt. It's going to be a 3-3 decision. All 5 games in this tournament have been draws. Utter disgust from Omar Holness, Chad Barrett, and a few other RSL players.
Well, you just see some, I hate to say the inexperience there, but opportunities for Real Salt Lake to really kill that game off and unable to do so. That's going to be a topic of conversation for Jeff Cassar as they go into this break. But to even get into that position where you're up 3-2 in stoppage time, great comeback effort for Real Salt Lake. Unfortunate they're not rewarded in the end. But I think when you look at this game at the end of it, having that opportunity to win and not coming through in preseason, you can look at it that one of two ways. On the one hand, if you're able to get the win, you talk about the team's versatility, the team's resiliency to come back and get the win. But having it end in a draw, Jeff Cassar is now able to say to his team, see, here's how you don't play out the end of a game. Here's what you don't want to do. And there's a few things that Real Salt Lake certainly could have done differently there in the final 3, 4, 5 minutes of this game to put it away, and they weren't able to do it.
Here's the highlights. There's the first goal from Molino. Again, quick transition, the story of the night for Minnesota. Everything beginning and ending with Kevin Molino.
Here's the ball from Ramirez to Molino.
That puts Minnesota up 2-0 just seconds into the second half. Then Jordan Allen wins the penalty.
Yeah, we've talked about Jordan Allen and his efforts throughout this preseason. 2 goals now for him, as well as 2 penalties earned. And here's the goal to equalize, or rather to bring it to 2-2 in the 79th minute. Chad Barrett puts that away. Left-footed shot. We talked about the effort defensively to get in position. And then Andrew Brody. Another ball to Chad Barrett. His header unable to get cleared off the line, and Brody puts it away. This is what you hope for when you bring guys in off the bench. They're able to contribute like this. See the excitement there on Andrew Brody's face as he put the team up 3-2.
And then the equalizer at the death.
Yeah, just we talked all throughout the game about the versatility in Minnesota's attack, and certainly you see it there in the end as Venegas equalizes on the last kick of the game. Molino 2 goals, Venegas with 1, Venegas with an assist as well, Ramirez with 2 assists.
RSL off to Salt Lake tomorrow, 3 days off, and then going to Southern California on Sunday. Games against the LA Galaxy and the Armenian champions Alashkart next week in Irvine, and then home to open the 2017 Major League Soccer season against the Eastern Conference champions, Toronto FC. 2:30 kickoff. Still tickets available at rsl.com for what should be a fantastic day at Rio Tinto Stadium. RSL then going to Chicago on March 11th, back home March 18th in a regular season match against the Galaxy, and then wrapping up March on the 25th at Red Bull Arena. So 3-3 RSL Minnesota up next at 8:45 p.m. Mountain, 7:45 p.m. local. Portland Timbers, Vancouver Whitecaps. And if that game ends in a draw, I believe we'll have a four-way tie for the championship of the Portland Timbers preseason tournament, with all four teams drawing over and over. RSL 3-3 tonight. They did have a 3-3 draw last Thursday against Vancouver, and then against Portland, and then 1-1 Sunday against Vancouver. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for Jake Zivin and the Portland Timbers broadcast team.